Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Your dog, Commissioner?
Yeah, I need the microphone.
It's working. Good morning. Welcome to the April 26, 2007 meeting of Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Our quote for today: success is often the result of taking a misstep in the right direction. Commissioner Kukowski?
Good morning, everyone. We have a nice little female, about, 2 years old, maybe? Ready for adoption now? No? Saturday. I was out at the Lorain County Dog Kennel yesterday, and I thought I was getting a Chihuahua. There's a little Chihuahua out there. She's so sweet. She shook her tail so hard that she almost knocked herself over. She had like a beagle color, so if you want a cute, sweet little dog, there's a Chihuahua over there too. Got a broken leg, but I think it's about healed now. But this is a nice dog too. We have lots to choose from. Really nice big yellow lab out there, and come out to our kennel and pick up a pet for your family. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
At 10 o'clock, we're going to have presentations by the Main Street Consortiums, which consist of Amherst, Elyria, Lorain, Overland, and Wellington. Under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, they're number 74107. It's for an appraisal for property by the railroad. I think since it's regarding a purchase of property, we could discuss that in executive session. I'd like to talk about that a little further before we expend those dollars.
It does concern a potential purchase of real estate, so that would be a permissible subject to discuss if you wanted to hold up.
Yes,
and
I'd like
talk
to
about
hold
that.
this one until after we talk about it.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Would you like to amend to include all the other ones for approval, though?
Yes.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Travel expenses?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Bills?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under the airport, approve and enter an agreement with URS Corporation Cleveland in the amount of $4,700 to be paid from contract services account for an environmental phase 1, the voluntary action plan of the entire airport property in order to apply for the job ready site application. There were 6 RFQs received, this one being the most responsive, complying with specifications.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. Cordez?
Thank you, Commissioner. Clearly, we're still working on our airport, and we're trying to get the airport situated and ready to be able to receive grants and/or assistance from the state. And we have a couple things on the way there, and Mr. Twining would be prepared to give you just a very brief oversight on that. And
Have we
thank you for-
gotten all the plats of land together yet out there?
Yes, we have. That was all taken care of, and we've gone through all of the documents, and Mr. Anderson and myself spent quite a bit of time organizing all that. So everything is straightened out with our property, and where we got a clear understanding of exactly where the boundaries are and the borders
Okay.
and what's what. But we're still working on zoning issues. We're still working on some TIF issues out there, and positioning the property and the airport so that we can start having some bigger plans for it. It's going to take time because this work should have been done a long time ago. Ron, go ahead.
We have 1,100 acres that we own, that commissioners own out at the airport. A large portion of that is for the runways and the buildings, but we easily have along Russia Road at least 150 acres that's available for industrial development, and actually there's a road in there and some investments that have been made in the last decade to prepare it for that. However, there was never an environmental review of that. Making sure that there was no underground storage tanks from any farm operation or any hazardous materials spilled on that 150 acres. There's also to the north of the runways a potential for about 350 or 400 acres. It could be at a much later date used for that same purpose, industrial purpose, and there's never been an environmental review on that. Actually, where we're building the T1 hangars, we're doing an archaeological dig now to certify to the state that there's no Indian artifacts there, and that's a condition of the economic development CDBG funds. So we're doing that, but just to finish the airport so that we can get the gold-plated letter that says we have no need for a phase 2, which is the actual digs or borings to sample the soil. We need to do this environmental one. We do not, or phase 1, we do not anticipate any issues. We went out for RFPs. 8 companies were given the RFP or RFQs, and 6 of them responded. They were extremely competitive, and we actually negotiated this agreement with URS. They were the number 1 selection of 2 of the 3 evaluators, and the number 2 firm was the number 2 on all 3. So we were in a good position to negotiate, and we think we've got a more than reasonable price on this.
The archaeological dig is going to be over 6 square acres. They think that's a big enough piece
Roughly.
to indicate whether there's the need to go further or not. And my understanding is we should have did that like what?
That was
That's
supposed to have been
7
done,
years ago,
it
5
was
years ago?
first requested in 1987, and it was ignored. So in order to get this extension of the utilities, we absolutely have to do this in order to make the State Historic Preservation Office. And that work technically is starting on Monday, weather permitting. If it's raining Monday, they'll be there Tuesday, but the area is being flagged now for them to go out and poke and prod around and dig a few test holes to make sure they don't find any artifacts.
And thereafter, we should see some movement on the T hangar project and should be able to access the CDBG funds and start breaking ground on those hangars. A couple of these things needed to be done, and they weren't done sequential, so we had to slow that project in order to access that funding and position the airport for additional funding. This has nothing to do with FAA funding. This is just different revenue streams that as dollars become tighter, we need to make sure that we're ready and prepared to access those available funds. So it's been a slow grind, but I think we're on the right track.
The job-ready site, if you remember, the maximum allowed under that program, and that was part of the Clean Ohio initiative, the maximum allowed was $500 million investment, but you had to have, it was in 5 categories. You had to have at least 350 acres that was a clean site ready for a major developer to move in, and that happens to be one that we have clear ownership, so we're going to gain extra points on that, where other communities have maybe assembled 350 acres, but one of the conditions are they have a purchase agreement that would have to be bought by the proposed manufacturing. So while we may lose some points because we're not in an urbanized area, we're going to gain additional points because we own the land outright. So we feel it's a good application, and that's why we're going forward with the request for this Phase 1 environmental.
Wonderful, Ron. Thank you.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Commissioners, I will need I wouldn't call it lengthy, but I do need an executive session to discuss potential new hires at Job and Family Services, Golden Acres, and within the Community Development Department. Update you probably on our ongoing labor negotiations with the United Steelworkers of America, and we do also need to talk about that potential purchase of real estate issue that Commissioner Kokoski brought up. Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the same for Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting minutes for April 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Approve and enter in a renewal lease agreement with South Shore Community Development Corporation to lease 1,272.25 square feet at St. Joseph Community Center to be used as the Lorain County Clerk of Court's office as a satellite for automobile titles and passports effective April 1st, 2007 through March 31st, 2010 at an annual rate of $12,722.50 with a 90-day cancellation clause.
Commissioners, I had a question from Commissioner Kalo on this lease agreement. I have not had an opportunity to review yet, and I would like to request that we wait until next week to vote on this lease agreement so I have an opportunity to answer his question.
Thank you.
Under Community Development Department, award contract to Bax Roofing and Construction Plymouth in the amount of $8,000, which includes a 10% contingency for any unforeseen change orders for Renee Cease at 9911 Aldrich Avenue, Columbia Station, to receive a grant for a roof and boiler to be paid from the house rehab account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Award contract to Bax Roofing and Construction Plymouth in the amount of $23,000, which includes a 10% contingency for any unforeseen change orders for Carla Watt and Brandon Watt and 12377 National Drive, Grafton, to receive a loan for furnace, electrical, water heater, gutter downspouts, and installation to be paid from the CHIP Home House Rehab account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Under Solid Waste, approve various applications requests to be paid from the Commissioners' Grants accounts. 1, Amherst Exempted Village Schools, Amherst, the Field of Dreams project, in the amount of $14,650 to purchase 5-row bleacher unit and a project sign. 2, Vincent Elementary School, Sheffield Township, in the amount of $10,000 to build a playground and recycled shredded rubber for underneath. And 3, Linden School, Leary, in the amount of $2,302 to purchase EnduraSafe Advanced Ground Care and rubber mulch for the playground areas.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion. Mr. Billman and our guests from the grant applications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Billman, Solid Waste Director. We have these 3 grants that have been looked at, and they're all going to be utilizing recycled materials, so that's why we can go ahead and give these grants. We do have some guests here today, starting out with Tina Peters from from the Jackie Morales from the Linden School. I'll get it straight. Would you like to say something, Jackie?
Good morning.
Good morning, Jackie.
We're trying to replace about 600 square feet of fall surface in an infant and toddler playground. Right now there's wood chips in there, and the wood chips are a safety issue because the children can get splinters when they fall. Also, they have to be replaced every single year, so every year we're spending about $1,800 to replace those. The rubber mulch will not settle, and we won't have to replace it once every 8 years. So for $2,300, it's cost effective, and it also is a safety issue. We did this in our preschool playground last year, so we got a grant from another organization, and we were able to replace 1 playground fall surface, and so now we need to do 2 additional smaller surfaces.
Good.
Commissioners?
No.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's Tina's turn. She's from Vincent Elementary School out on Detroit Road.
Thank you. I've been the principal at Vincent Elementary School for about 7 years, and when I showed up there, we were always dinged on the playground. It's made of wood, and there's always splinters, or there's a railing missing, and we always have to repair something. So this year, our gym teachers said, they got in a conversation about what $1 million was, and so they started saying, well, how big is that? What is that? So the gym teacher just said, well, let's start collecting something so we can see what $1 million is. And so we started collecting pennies. And so right now we are up to 223,789 pennies right now. And they're kind of spaced around our building right now. And they're very heavy. So we've actually contacted banks to say, could you please save these for us? Because we really want to see $1 million later. And all these pennies are going to go towards our playground. And no bank wants to hold the pennies because they just take up too much room and they're too heavy. So we have a police department, and one of our teachers is a sheriff or a state highway patrolman down in Garfield Heights, and so he said, bring them to the post. We'll do that. So slowly we're bringing them. But like I said, when you put a 6,000 pennies in the back of your truck, it kind of weighs a lot, so it takes a few trips to get down there. So our maintenance supervisor's working on all that. But just counting them has become a problem with the gym teacher. She's like, I never thought I was going to have to count all these pennies, but she does. So our custodian made a 3-foot-high PVC pipe just to fit the pennies, so she didn't just toss them all in there, and she knows that there's 100 in there. And then, so like then we have 100, and we pour them in a bag, and 100, we pour them in a bag. So that's been all fun. But the whole project that we decided to do, that we want to do, is to blacktop a section of the playground so that the kids can go out there during the winter time, or if it had rained, they can still stay kind of dry and not be muddy. And we're building a new construction, actually the playground set, a new construction, and of course the rubberized material underneath, and hopefully it's going to all work out. And between the grant that hopefully I'm getting today and the funds that I've collected over 7 years of fundraisers and our VIP, which is our PTA group, all of us together, we're going to get this going off the ground. So it's all for the kids, and that's what we're here for. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
The next guest we have from the Amherst School District, Al McConaughey and Bill Miller. Al, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Hi, my name's Alan McConaughey. I'm a teacher and a coach over at Amherstdale High School. And I just wanted to thank you for your consideration for Recycle Grant. We have the Field of Dreams upgrade project going on for our baseball facility that we share with the Amherst Athletic Association. The fact of the matter is that on our baseball field, there's been an ongoing project for an upgrade. I've been the coach since 2005. This is my 3rd year, and the parents of the community of Amherst, as well as the athletic department, decided that it'd be in best interest to improve the baseball facilities. And there are certain phases that we were going through. Phase 1 has been completed, where we did a backstop upgrade and new dugouts, and we're trying to move forward with Phase 2. And with your consideration for the grant, we're going to really benefit from making our baseball field a nice place to watch a baseball game, where throughout the spring, summer, and fall months over the course of the year, there are over 120 baseball games played. And it's something that I think not only Amherst benefits from, but everybody in the county can come and see, because we get teams that come from all over the place that come in. So I think it's something that we really appreciate and thank, and thanks for the consideration. I also come bearing gifts. I don't know what your loyalties are for what high school, but I thought maybe you could wear something with some green and gold pride on it from Amherst benefit, courtesy of the Amherst baseball program.
Well, I believe Lori's an Amherst graduate,
I am,
right?
yeah.
Lori's an Amherst graduate.
My kids go there too, so.
My husband is an Amherst graduate. He would love that hat. Thank you very much.
I have twins. I need another one.
Thanks, Al. Bill, any comments as the athletic director? Get your 15 minutes of fame here.
I don't need 15 minutes, but
Okay.
just one quick comment. This is my first year at Amherst as the athletic director, and I just have to speak in, I guess, not defense, but to give commendation to Al. It's a beautiful field. If anybody's seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But this is the first time we've had baseball, obviously because it's springtime now, but I'm getting friends from old school districts I've been at who are baseball coaches coming in, and I've already gotten 2 or 3 compliments and just endless compliments on how nice it looks. What'd you do over there? This and I've done nothing. Coach McConaughey's done it all, and I'm just kind of here to help right now. But he's done a fantastic job and gotten a lot of support over it. So thank you again for your consideration.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Haven't been by to watch a game, but I've been past the fields, and you guys have done a really good job over there.
Any other comments, commissioners?
Just a question to Mr. Billman. How are we doing with a balance here? Do we have quite a bit more money left over for recycling projects like this for other school districts and other projects we might?
I can't tell you offhand what the amount is, but we still have some money in the fund that can be given out.
Okay.
If you need it, I will
You
get
can
it
get
to you
that
after.
for me later
Sure.
time.
We'd all like to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Very nice job with the grants and the applications. It benefits the kids of our county, so I guess that's the best place to put the money. So, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Teresa?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under the prosecutor, authorize payment in the amount of $5 to the clerk of Larry Municipal Court to transfer the certificate, of judgment obtained in case 2006 CVE 03792, Lorain County Clerk of Courts. This is delinquent loan from the Community Development Project.
So moved.
I'll second, and why do we have to have a special motion? Couldn't this have just gone on the regular order of business?
I'd just given you the $5 just to save the paperwork.
I know, I was thinking the same thing.
Did you need an answer? Or you
No,
just make
I was a
okay.
rhetor-
Yeah,
that was a
$5,
rhetorical
please.
statement.
Don't we have petty cash somewhere laying around?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye. Mhm.
Under the Sheriff, approve and enter in a support agreement on behalf of the Sheriff's Department with Total ID Solutions, Inc., Cleveland, for the concealed weapons permit to computerize the CCW process. This contract is effective retroactive to April 11, 2007 through April 10, 2008, at a cost of $1,090 and will be paid from the contract services account.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator?
I have no comments this morning, thank you.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor?
Commissioners, I have one matter of imminent litigation that I would like to discuss with the commissioners in executive session.
Commissioners report.
Commissioner Kukowski?
Well, like I said earlier, I went to the dog kennel yesterday. I met Mr. Cortez out there and Karen Davis, and we're hoping to do some upgrades out at the kennel. That'll be forthcoming, some ideas. Also, I had mentioned a month or two ago about getting weapons for the guys out there. I do have a quote here for tasers. For 3 of them, it would be $2,357. They would also get trained by our Sheriff's Department on how to use those. I think tasers are probably the best way to go. It's kind of funny that when I did mention it the last time, the very next day, and I don't know if Hal can get a picture of this, there was a vicious dog in Elyria and bit a 7-year-old girl. And our guys had to go out there and get this dog. Can you see this? This is the truck full of blood. This is the bloody mouth dog that bit that little girl. And our guys had to go out there and capture this dog with a pole. You know, this dog was biting fencing. It was biting everything it could get its teeth on. I firmly believe that $2,300 is nothing compared to the safety of our guys out there. They're going in for drug raids. They are the first ones in the house if there's a dog in there. They're putting their lives on the line, and I firmly believe we need to protect them. So I'm hoping I'll get some support from either Mr. Kalo or Ms. Blair on a $2,300 purchase for tasers. Thank you.
I don't know if you mean that in a motion or not. So.
I'll make that in the form of a motion. And we'll get training by the Sheriff's Department so that the guys know how to use them properly.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
No.
Thank you, Betty.
Well, it's better than a gun.
I'm worried about the projectile, especially when we're in the urban areas, just with kids around, and if it were to go off and hit a child or something. I like the electric wands, I said I'd support that, but not any projectile.
I've had
so.
numerous discussions about the cattle prods that you had mentioned, and I was told that all that would do was make the dog even madder.
That's what the police department's for then. That's
they're
when you
not
have to
always,
take them down.
they're not always available, and they push these guys up front ahead of the police department sometimes, just if it's a dog situation, so.
Well, it's okay to agree to disagree.
That's right,
Commissioner Blair?
Are you done?
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lieutenant Governor Lee Fisher was in attendance Saturday at a NOLA-sponsored function. NOLA stands for Northeast Ohio League for Leadership and Advocacy. It was held in Medina County at the Brunswick Recreation Center. Peter Lawson Jones, Cuyahoga County Commissioner, and Steve Hamley, Medina County Commissioner, facilitated this meeting. Also in attendance was Larry Long, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the County Commissioners Association, and Howard Mayer, who's the CEO of NOACA. Lieutenant Governor Fisher suggested that we practice collaboration with negotiated priorities or by consensus, with a quote of, "Rising tide lifts all boats." A growing economy will bode well for education. The two-year $52 million budget that he talked about has needs that far exceed their resources. It has the lowest growth in spending in 42 years. Regarding the local government fund, which has been frozen for the last 6 years, they are suggesting a change, linking it to the growth in our economy in terms of a percentage of general fund receipts. Local governments would then share in the growth of the tax fund receipts. Also, according to Mr. Fisher, there is a new focus on how the Ohio Department of Development does economic development, but he offered no specifics. They are considering awards for communities that work together, but again, no details were given. It was a very interesting presentation, and he was an enjoyable speaker. And secondly, I would like to remind anyone who's interested of the Alliance's Lorain County Transportation Day, which will be held here on Friday, May 4th at 9 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish I could have made that, Commissioner. Well, last week was a busy week. Had the opportunity on Thursday to celebrate the one-year anniversary of the Minority Business Development Center, which is located in the South Shore Center, the old St. Joe's in Lorain. Did a very nice job. Mayor Grace spoke. We had Councilman at Large Tony Krashenko speak. Who else did we have there? There was a ton of people there talking about all the efforts they've put together, and they're now part of our Lorain County Growth Partnership, so it was a very nice event they had. And then on Friday, Commissioner Blair and myself spent our time at TAC at NOACA, arguing for 2.5 hours about our Avon interchange. It was a quite healthy discussion. I don't know if Commissioner Blair has any additional comments on that, but it was quite informative. Would you agree, Commissioner?
Oh, it's always informative to hear other people's opinions about how the world works.
And then also we had the pipe yard dedication, another good place for our recycled dollars in the city of Lorain, the new pipe yard stadium, and they seem to have a very nice turnout. The Cleveland State people were there, representing themselves, and then to hear from former Mayor Kai Oleko speak about his old days when he played on rocks and stones. So.
And don't forget the banner that his family gave to him.
Yes, the banner was very nice. After that, I had an opportunity. I had left the pipe yard dedication and went to a Durling Elementary School in the Clearview School District spaghetti dinner, and as I'm sitting there having dinner, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown and his wife Connie Schultz walked in. He had just flown in from Washington. He read in the paper to have a spaghetti dinner, and he showed up. It was kind of nice to sit and talk to Sherrod for half an hour. So he is still local, and he is still pitching it for Lorain County. And then last night, I was at the Children's Family First Council annual meeting. Since president of the board, I'm on the executive board. Met the entities. They helped me grow people. Youth Services. Vivian Alexander was there. Prosecutor Will was there. A large group that represent all of the services that the Children's Family First Council takes care of. And the Public Service Institute with Shara Davis did a presentation with the issues facing Lorain County, unwed mothers, no health insurance. It was a very nice meeting. I had to leave about halfway through it, but it was very nice to be there. And I saw Teresa butcher up a word today. I really butchered up the word organization speaking last, and it just wouldn't come out. So.
It shows you're human.
Right. And then also May 1st, Commissioner Kukowski reminded me, is our State of the County address.
That's correct, Commissioner. I'm glad you brought that up as a reminder. I certainly hope that our staff people have been down to see you guys on prepping you for this presentation. I've been sending out numerous emails for that to occur, and that's coming up pretty quick. So, Ron, we need to make sure we deal with that. I probably have told our people 3 or 4 times to make sure that they're with you on that presentation.
Peggy's contact, I actually sent her another suggestion yesterday. I left on her voicemail that I think should be added to the presentation. So.
Okay. Just want to make sure it goes smoothly for you on that. And that function last night that you enjoyed, you sponsored that. That was through the Children and Family First with the administrative agent, and you approved that outreach issue for the community. So I'm glad you were pleased with that initiative.
Well, they had to hold the meeting anyway to deal with House Bill 289, which is the new funding measures for the Children and Family First Council and how they have to present how they're going to spend their money. So it was quite interesting. I've never been through a process like that, and they had the whole clicker and everything, where you voted. And
yeah, it's kind of
it's a neat process.
They pretty well got that down pat, and it makes it very much more enjoyable than the old tape the paper to the wall and write it all down. They do a real nice job out there.
Right. Well, the first question for a test was who's going to get kicked off American Idol last night. So everybody's voting, and they didn't kick anybody off. So I flipped back from the Cavs game to see who was getting booted off, and nobody got booted off last night.
They definitely didn't get booted off, but they raised a lot of money.
They raised $33 million last night? Wow.
Actually, it was a very, very touching American Idol. I didn't watch all of it, but it brought tears to my eyes.
Well, I was flipping between the Cavs, the Indians, and trying to get back to American Idol to see what was going on. So, but the Cavs won and the Indians won, so it was a great night.
Wow.
Okay.
Important business, important business.
To certain people.
Just remind you that I will be at CCAO regional meeting tomorrow for the clerks and everybody.
Where is that going to be, Teresa?
We're going to be in Ashland tomorrow.
Thank you.
At Sally's. And we're talking about the House Bill 694. We're going to be talking about the record stuff coming up. It's a big agenda with Larry Long and all them. So that should be interesting. I should be bringing a lot of work back.
Oh, thank you
and
so
then,
much.
I've been in contact with Franklin County Commissioners too regards to this NACO. County Commissioner Kilroy. She's very interested in how we do our prescriptions. So I sent her a bunch of information last night and this morning. So
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
okay, board correspondence.
Move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Public comment.
We
Then
gotta
we'll go
take
to the
her.
presentation.
Let's take public comment, then we'll go to the
Oh,
presentation.
Elizabeth's going
Elizabeth seems pretty anxious to say something. I hate to hold her back.
Elizabeth Rummings, Oberlin, just to let you know we are awake and listening. One thing, thank you very much for the information and detail about the airport. As you know, there are a lot of people who are still interested in what is going on there, and this is now the primary source of information, except as newspapers happen to pick something else up. So again, thank you for the information there. The other thing is, where is the State of the County address, and is it open to the public?
The State of the County address will be held at the Spitzer Conference Center May 1st. It begins at 8 o'clock. I haven't seen the agenda. I'm not sure if that's registration. I think registration's at 7:30. At 7:30. So it'll be followed by what I'm assuming is going to be a dynamic PowerPoint presentation and very dynamic delivery of a speech by all 3 of our commissioners. So please come out and join us. I think the cost is $20.
Ah, that was my next.
$22.50 now? Okay.
That was my next question. Thank you.
Shirley R. Johnson, Oberlin. I was interested in your passing a motion to allow the use of tasers by your dog wardens. I think it's very important that you have a policy, not only for how and when they're to be used, but what kind of training and continual training is offered for anybody that is allowed to use tasers.
I agree with you, Shirley.
Yeah, the tasers will be used as a last resort. When I talked to the guys yesterday, they said probably in the last 10, 15 years, they probably would have only had to use them 3 times, like one of the deputies. So they will be trained by the Sheriff's Department, and if there's a need for ongoing training, we'll make sure that that gets taken care of.
Yeah, well, I think it's very important to have such a policy and that be in writing and that we know what it is.
There is a section in the Ohio Revised Code that says our deputies are allowed to carry a weapon. And we have not provided them with anything for a long time. And like I said, it's a small price to pay for the safety of our guys out there.
Well, I'm not arguing about whether they should or shouldn't. I just think it's important, since you've granted it, that there be a policy and a written policy in terms of use and training.
I agree. Thank you.
Any more? Going to our presentation now for Main Street.
Main Street Consortiums, and I believe Tamala was supposed to be the presenter, but you can all come up. And Jim, he needs to.
Do you want those? Do you want those?
Those are for next week.
Good morning.
Good
Tamala
morning.
Grubb, Main Street, Elyria. Thank you. We would like to address you this morning, and thank you for allowing the time for the Lorain County Consortium to address the importance of the Main Street programs in Lorain County and our appreciation of your support. Main Street Elyria staff and volunteers have been busy planning events and addressing pertinent issues as they pertain to the downtown. Events scheduled for this upcoming year are the Farmers Market, the Arts and Cultural Festival, the Memorial Day Pancake Breakfast, and the annual meeting, which will be held in October. We are also involved with city music, and we will have the wine and cheese before the Pops concert in September. And also we host the Festival of Lights in December. The Downtown Historic District has multiple building projects underway: the Chronicle Telegram, the train station renovation, and the municipal courthouse, which will be slated for completion in September. The progress on the Bell Building, located on Lake and Broad, continues with work on the 3rd floor, but now is home to a coffee house, and it is open for business. Main Street Elyria is proud for the reclaiming of the Century Block building. It laid vacant for over 30 years on the upper floors, and now it houses Vandermark Jewelers, McDooley's Pub, and the Beauty Mart on the lower level, and Lotus Gallery on the 2nd floor, and residential space on the 3rd floor. The Dixon's Building, home to the Downtown Fitness Center, which just opened, went through a complex renovation process and now stands as an asset to the historic character of the downtown. Main Street Elyria will continue to work towards the benefit of the historic downtown district, and once again would like to thank you and send our appreciation to the commissioners. And I would like to turn this over to Mike Epley of Wellington. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. As Tamala said, I'm from Wellington. I'm the program manager for Main Street Wellington. Couple exciting things that have happened and are happening in Wellington. Last year, Main Street Wellington was the first Main Street organization in the state of Ohio to form their own endowment fund in partnership with the Lorain County or Community Foundation of Greater Lorain County. We also have a lot of projects underway with buildings with our CDBG. We're on our 3rd CDBG Downtown Revitalization Grant. We are in the process of completing our expansion of the town hall parking lot, which will add 44 new spaces, hopefully be done in the next 2 weeks, which will bring just over 100 new parking spaces in the last 3 years downtown. We're also pretty excited about our working with Lorain County Community College, both with their Innovation, Entrepreneurship Innovation Center, which will be opening, plus also the new Wellington Center branch will be opening this fall in Wellington. We're also working with them right now. They've opened a office in our downtown and looking for possible seminars that they can do with our business people to offer services. So those are just a few of the things that are happening in our downtown, and we'd like to also thank the commissioners for their past support of Main Street Wellington and the other Lorain County Main Street organizations. Christina Nichols from Oberlin will now talk to you.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm actually one of the newest Main Street managers in Ohio. I've been on the job for just under 3 months, but I'm very proud to call Overland my home and to have such lovely ladies such as Elizabeth and Shirley in my town. Some of the interesting projects that we've had lately, we put up a new set of banners in downtown Oberlin that show distinctive or famous Oberlinians, and actually Shirley is on one of them, which is great. And we've gotten a lot of interest from different people who want to know more about who's on the banners. We've created a brochure to show that, and that helps a lot with the college parents coming into town and a lot of the different visitors that we have coming through. A few of the other things that we have going on, we have CDBG funds that are being administered currently in downtown. Those were held up a little bit, but we're finally administering those. And we also had a downtown visioning workshop a few weeks ago to try to get some new ideas for downtown Oberlin. Our organization has been around for about 5 years, so we needed some fresh ideas and had a lot of great response from that. We've also started a few events that are kind of more casual events. We have a Coffee on College Street, which is an event where different community members and business owners can get together and talk. And it's really interesting to see the different groups of people that come together that wouldn't normally have a chance to talk and have coffee together. So thank you very much for your support, and we're excited to see what else we can do in downtown Oberlin. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm going to introduce Teresa Gillis from Amherst.
Good morning.
Hi, Teresa.
How are you guys today? I'm here to tell you a little bit about Amherst and what we've been doing. Since 2000, the City of Amherst has received 3 CDBG grants, which we are in the middle of our 3rd one. And about approximately 30 buildings have been renovated. And we have done reconstruction of Church Street, Park Avenue, and South Main Street with the stamping at the intersection of the 5 points there. And we also have stamped the intersection of Park Avenue and Church Street. Some of the other things that we have done with the grants is we are starting a brand new banner program which will begin this summer with our flower pot program that we started last year. We will continue this year. And we have done some street furniture improvements that will be put out this summer. One of the other things that we just formed too is a community improvement corporation, which has met a couple times now. So that is a new tool for the City of Amherst to use for the entire city, not just for the downtown area. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about a special event that's coming up, which you all know about, which is Pride Day. And Main Street is taking that over this year and working with the city, and that is Saturday, May the 19th. And we're meeting at the Main Street building, and we're hoping to have the community come out and all the different organizations, hoping the baseball team will come out and help us clean up the downtown area.
That's a plug.
And since you're here today, I hope you're going to help us out.
Pressure on you.
Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for all your support. It really means a lot to us, and it has really helped us out a great deal. And now I am going to introduce Mike Challenger from Lorain, who is going to do a little oversight that we've done for the past 5 years.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Mike.
Thank you, Teresa. I've put on your desk brochure from the 41st Lorain International Festival that'll be held in June. We're really excited about the festival this year downtown because of the fact the street stamping, which is underway right now, should be completed by that time. And the bridge lighting, the Bascule Bridge lighting should be completed. And I want to thank the commissioners for the support in helping to fund a portion of that bridge lighting project. In addition to the solid waste funds that was used over at the Pipe Yard Stadium. If you haven't seen the stadium, it's a very beautiful stadium, and possibly the Amherst baseball team could have a game or two over there. We'd love to welcome you. What else is going on? Lots going on downtown Lorain with the street stamping. We're looking at doing some other improvements downtown with painting. We're getting some estimates on awnings. So when people come to see the parades this summer, I think they'll be very pleased with the progress that we've made. So moving forward, I'd like to do a little presentation with the Main Street groups. Main Streets and Lorain Growth Corporation use the 4 points of development. The first point being working towards the same revitalization goals for the downtown. Promotion, it's selling the positive images of our downtown to potential shoppers and businesses. Design is capitalizing on the best building assets streets, sidewalks, and landscaping. And economics is strengthening the existing businesses in our downtowns while attracting new businesses and development. Main Streets retain and create jobs. It's a good incubator for small businesses. Often businesses that try to start out from ground zero will get into a big building with expensive overhead, and that takes a lot out of their profits. So the downtown main streets usually have lower rent prices. You know, many of our main streets have historic buildings and our tourist attractions. 5 years, 79 new businesses were opened in the Main Street organizations. In the business side, we do work with Lorain County Community College and their programs. We work with Glide, the Lorain County Small Business Development Center, the Lorain County Growth Partnership, and Team Lorain County. So the work we're doing, we're not doing it in a vacuum in our communities, but we're working with agencies throughout Lorain County. Some of the businesses that have opened. In 2004, the Lorain County Business Magazine did a feature on our main streets showing that growth is again coming down to those areas. In 5 years, 328 full-time equivalent jobs have been created. Public and private investment in Lorain County's Main Street downtowns has exceeded $130,000.
Million.
Oh, thank you.
We are paying attention.
What's in a couple zeros?
See, we're still awake over here, listening to every word you say.
The private investment from the municipalities in our districts is very important. As a business owner that has an investment in a building downtown and a business likes to see that the community and the municipalities are investing in the downtowns also. So it's a partnership that works quite well. In the 5 years, 30,523 volunteer hours have been logged in supporting our organizations, and a dollar value of over $500,000. Volunteer hours show that the community is behind the work that we're doing, and they're showing that support by volunteering their time and efforts. The Commissioner's investment in the Main Street Group and Lorain Growth Corporation pays dividends not only to local communities, but to Lorain County as a whole. Private investment in older buildings increases the property values, which increases property taxes. Business creation adds jobs, and as more locally owned businesses open up in our downtowns, that money generated seems to stay in the county for longer periods of time through hiring of employees and buying materials, services. And 4, the county becomes stronger with our program. Downtowns are the heart and soul of communities and of Lorain County. We'd like to thank the commissioners for your support, and we look forward to creating a stronger partnership in the future.
Thank you, Mike.
Very nice.
Yeah, you guys do a great job with the little funding that you get from us, I know.
The volunteer hours really help too.
That does.
Sure do.
But
Very
thank you.
important, Mike. I am big Main Street believer as a downtown businessman.
Yes, you
so.
are. Also on the back table, for those of you that didn't pick one up, the Lorain County Chamber of Commerce has put together this Lorain County magazine. You're welcome to pick it up on your way out.
Yeah, I think we have like a $5,000 investment in that, so appreciate the copy.
We only got one?
Probably for $5,000, knowing the chamber, we probably got half one.
Hey, leave the chamber alone, Jim.
I think we have several of our employees are board members. On
One of your commissioners is the board member.
on the main. No, I was talking about Main Street.
Oh, I thought you talked about the chamber.
I wasn't done.
Saying nasty things about the chamber. I thought I'd chime in.
Actually, they were terms of endearment.
Yeah, like.
But
Let me ask you, when are you going to let me on the chamber board?
Go ahead.
Well, you know, it's not, it's not a matter of letting you on. I think that the chamber board appoints their own members, so I'm
They
sure
don't want
there's
you
room.
to.
They don't want me to just take my check every year.
Why don't you just make an application?
We have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry,
Yes,
Shirley. We're having fun.
No, I don't have a question. Shirley R. Johnson, as an unauthorized representative of Oberlin. Chris forgot to invite you all to our big parade on May 5th. It's usually worth coming over there to see it, and it's an interesting floats and other interesting things.
And it has a title. What is its title, Shirley?
As far as I know, it's the big parade.
That's it. Okay. I wanted you to say that.
It's not for any purpose except good, clean fun.
That also happens to be the same day as Mother Earth Sings in Cascade Park.
And Cinco de Mayo in Lorain.
And the Kentucky Derby.
There you go.
If you turn the
831
to the back
last year.
If you turn to the back page, you'll see your community development department there. Okay, that's your the support of the chamber's process.
I'd like to give one more plug for Lorain Growth Corporation. We do a weekly electronic newsletter. If anyone in the audience would like to receive that newsletter, it isn't centered around Lorain City, but Lorain County. And the website is loraingrowth.com. And a couple of the stories, there's a story about the pipe yard and the bridge lighting in the recent edition on our website.
I read it every week, Mike.
It's very well written.
It's very lengthy.
Speaking about, it is lengthy.
I don't always get to
allows
it,
you
sorry.
to skip and only read the stories you want to.
Speaking of the bridge lighting, stay tuned. We will be having our announcement hopefully next week on when our event's going to occur. Everything is on track. Everything's progressing nicely. And we will be conducting a bridge lighting, I believe, sometime towards the middle or end of June. We'll put the schedules together, so it's going to be really nice. And I've also indicated to your senior staff members that have been working on the project that I want letters prepared to go down to ODOT, because now that we have the lighting, we definitely need some kind of announcement system to go with it so that we can enhance the effect of the lighting with some interplay with music. So we'll be asking the state to see if they can find a few pennies for us to finish that project, and that'll further enhance the down Black River Landing area.
Thank you very much. Go ahead and sit down, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you
Nice
for
job
your
serving steaks the other
presentation.
night, Teresa. Any more comments? Make a motion, move into executive session as outlined by our administrator and county prosecutor.
I'll second.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Thank you.
The sky. I'm gonna get some weather.
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Hey, buddy, how you doing there? Here, have a treat, okay? No one can deny the loving devotion we get from our dogs, and I think we all agree we get back more love than we give them. I'm Dick Goddard. I'm reminding you, if you share your love with a dog, you'll never regret it. There's really nothing like a dog to spark up your life, whether you're a youngster, a senior citizen, or somewhere in between. And dogs have a whole lot of affection to share. Okay, is that good? You don't have to go far to hear heartwarming adoption stories.
With my husband is like saying man's best friend. He truly loves that dog. He feels it's part human. It's his second daughter, as Erica said. It's definitely a prize. She's queen of the house, basically. She's a good lover. She gives us a lot of attention. She's a good girl.
We had a cat before we had Abby, and Abby adapted very well. She is best friends with that cat. She will not harm that cat in any way. She's amazing. I love her. When I'm in bed at night, Abby will jump up with me and she will pull the covers back and she will lay under the covers and lay her head on the pillow just like a human.
I encourage anyone to go to the Lorain County Kennel to adopt a dog. It's given our family great satisfaction and a great reward.
After, you know, a bad day at work or anytime you come home, it's just always nice. They kind of turn your mood around when you come in the door, and they wagging their tails and jumping on you, and it's a great feeling to know that they're happy to see you and that they love you just as much as you love them. She is good with our other dog. She's good with people. She likes attention, and she likes to cuddle up with you.
It's funny when Lily, when you kind of discipline her sometimes when she does something bad, or she always seems to roll on her back and put her paws in the air and just look up at you with this sad look. So it's kind of hard to even get mad at her when she does something like that. So we kind of laugh at that.
And it's always amusing when she does get a spurt of energy and want to run around, and we're always like, oh my gosh, Lily's going to play now.
Yeah,
so
like sometimes, like when I'm on the couch or whatever, and she'll hop down, and she always like tries to bite her own tail, and then that kind of like keys on our other dog, Rocky, to chime in and try to, you know, bite at her tail a little bit, and then they start playing around a little bit.
One day we came home with some food from, I just really wanted a burger. So we had a burger, and I had it sitting on the tray table by the couch, and I got up for a minute and got a drink, came back, and Lily was licking her lips. She had eaten the whole thing, and I was not very happy with her. So I screamed and told Kurt to come down and get her away from me because I was just so upset. But we both lived, and I was fine afterwards. One of the best things about adopting a dog from the kennel, at least for us, was, again, just giving this dog, who knows what would have happened to her, a new life, and also giving our other dog a companion during the day. It's just fun to have the two dogs and take them for walks and watch them play, and it brought us closer as well.
You know, it just makes you feel better as a person that, you know, you're giving a dog a better chance to live a life.
Actually, I enjoy the exercise because I need to, trying to lose weight. Salem makes me get out of the house every day. And so I have to take him for a walk, even if I don't want to. And he's not that much trouble because he was pretty much housebroken when I got him from the pound. I really like the older pet because Salem was kind of, whoever had him before, they really kind of housebroke him. So I didn't really have to go through the potty training deal. I just had to let him out and find a place for him to go. And I think older pets, especially for people who don't have children, are kind of good because Salem, he's real playful, but he's not, he gets tired and he lays down and he doesn't want to be bothered, and that's fine with me. So he's not always wanting to play, you know, because puppies have a lot of energy. And Salem has quite a bit of energy, but sometimes he just lays on his pillow and he's like, don't bother me, I won't bother you. And sometimes when he wants to play, and that's okay. I got Salem at the Lorain County Dog Pound. I found him on the internet, actually. They had his picture on the internet, and so I called and he was still there. And so I immediately went over and looked at him. We went outside and played, and he jumped in the car and wouldn't get out, and there we were. So we were on our way home. So it was love at first sight. He's a very good companion. I can always depend on him to be here and greet me with, you know, open arms when I come in the door. He's very protective of me, and he lets me know when anyone is outside or in the driveway. So I feel safe with Salem. You know, even though he's a small dog, he gives me a safe feeling just in my own home. If I'm having a bad day sometimes and I'm just not in a real good mood, you know, he'll come up and snuggle up to me like, hey Mom, it's okay. I think other people should adopt a pet, and even an older dog. The Lorain County Pound has so many wonderful dogs. All you have to do is go over there and look. I mean, even now, I still go on the website and I tell Salem, don't you want a little brother or sister? Because they have all these little cute dogs over there, and they all need good homes. And if you're looking to adopt a pet, I suggest you try the Lorain County Dog Pound first. I mean, you pay for the license and just a nominal fee, and you got a great dog and a great companion and somebody that's going to be in your life for the rest of your life, and they'll love you no matter what.
Hello, my fellow commissioners and I are here at the Lorain County Dog Kennel on Hadaway Street, just south of a Lurie City Discount, Value City. We invite you to stop out and see the facility here. We have lots of dogs available for adoption. We also encourage all dog owners to register your dog each year and get a dog license. That's your dog's ticket home in case it gets lost. It has a number and can easily be identified so that your dog can be returned to you in case he or she might take a little walk and you are unaware of it.
Along with the regular licensing that the county requires for all dogs, we also have a special dog license. It's a special heart medical care license tag for an additional $5. And the proceeds from that go to help us when we pick up a stray that's injured, hurt, or needs extreme medical care. It helps defer the cost for us. So next time you get your dog license, please pick up the special heart tag.
The Lorain County Commissioners would like to welcome you to come down to the Lorain County Dog Kennel. We also have a website that you can check out. Just click on Dogs to Adopt. There's plenty of dogs to choose from. It's like this little girl right here. This is Sadie. You can come down, make sure it's a good match for you, take the dog out, take it for a walk. But please, if you're thinking about adopting a dog, come out to the Lorain County Dog Kennel and see if there's a match for you.
Give the Lorain County Dog Kennel a call or check their website for photos of currently available dogs. Remember, your best friend is just waiting for you.
Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Your dog, Commissioner?
Yeah, I need the microphone.
It's working. Good morning. Welcome to the April 26, 2007 meeting of Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Our quote for today: success is often the result of taking a misstep in the right direction. Commissioner Kukowski?
Good morning, everyone. We have a nice little female, about, 2 years old, maybe? Ready for adoption now? No? Saturday. I was out at the Lorain County Dog Kennel yesterday, and I thought I was getting a Chihuahua. There's a little Chihuahua out there. She's so sweet. She shook her tail so hard that she almost knocked herself over. She had like a beagle color, so if you want a cute, sweet little dog, there's a Chihuahua over there too. Got a broken leg, but I think it's about healed now. But this is a nice dog too. We have lots to choose from. Really nice big yellow lab out there, and come out to our kennel and pick up a pet for your family. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
At 10 o'clock, we're going to have presentations by the Main Street Consortiums, which consist of Amherst, Elyria, Lorain, Oberlin, and Wellington. Under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, they're number 74107. It's for an appraisal for property by the railroad. I think since it's regarding a purchase of property, we could discuss that in executive session. I'd like to talk about that a little further before we expend those dollars.
It does concern the potential purchase of real estate, so that would be a permissible subject to discuss if you wanted to hold up. and
Yes, I'd
talk
like to
about
hold
that.
this one until after we talk about it.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Would you like to amend to include all the other ones for approval?
Yes.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Travel expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Blair.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Under the airport, approve and enter an agreement with URS Corporation Cleveland in the amount of $4,700 to be paid from contract services account for an environmental phase 1, the voluntary action plan of the entire airport property in order to apply for the job ready site application. There were 6 RFQs received, this one being the most responsive complying with specifications.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cordez?
Thank you, Commissioner. Clearly we're still working on our airport, and we're trying to get the airport situated and ready to be able to receive grants and/or assistance from the state. And we have a couple things on the way there, and Mr. Twining would be prepared to give you just a very brief oversight on that. And
Have we
thank you for-
gotten all the plats of land together yet out there?
Yes, we have. That was all taken care of, and we've gone through all of the documents, and Mr. Anderson and myself spent quite a bit of time organizing all that. So everything is straightened out with our property, and we got a clear understanding of exactly where the boundaries are and the borders
Okay.
and what's what. But we're still working on zoning issues. We're still working on some TIF issues out there, and positioning the property and the airport so that we can start having some bigger plans for it. It's going to take time because this work should have been done a long time ago. Ron, go ahead.
We have 1,100 acres that we own, that commissioners own out at the airport. A large portion of that is for the runways and the buildings, but we easily have along Russia Road at least 150 acres that's available for industrial development, and actually there's a road in there and some investments that have been made in the last decade to prepare it for that. However, there was never an environmental review of that. Making sure that there was no underground storage tanks from any farm operation or any hazardous materials spilled on that 150 acres. There's also to the north of the runways a potential for about 350 or 400 acres. It could be at a much later date used for that same purpose, industrial purpose, and there's never been an environmental review on that. Actually, where we're building the T1 hangars, we're doing an archaeological dig now to certify to the state that there's no Indian artifacts there, and that's a condition of the economic development CDBG funds. So we're doing that, but just to finish the airport so that we can get the gold-plated letter that says we have no need for a phase 2, which is the actual digs or borings to sample the soil. We need to do this environmental one. We do not, or phase 1, we do not anticipate any issues. We went out for RFPs. 8 companies were given the RFP or RFQs, and 6 of them responded. They were extremely competitive, and we actually negotiated this agreement with URS. They were the number 1 selection of 2 of the 3 evaluators, and the number 2 firm was the number 2 on all 3. So we were in a good position to negotiate, and we think we've got a more than reasonable price on this.
The archaeological dig is going to be over 6 square acres. They think that's a big enough piece
Roughly.
to indicate whether there's the need to go further or not. And my understanding is we should have did that like what?
That was
About
supposed to have been
7
done,
years ago,
it
5
was
years ago?
first requested in 1987, and it was ignored. So in order to get this extension of the utilities, we absolutely have to do this in order to make the State Historic Preservation Office. And that work technically is starting on Monday, weather permitting. If it's raining Monday, they'll be there Tuesday, but the area is being flagged now for them to go out and poke and prod around and dig a few test holes to make sure they don't find any artifacts.
And thereafter, we should see some movement on the T-hanger project and should be able to access the CDBG funds and start breaking ground on those hangars. A couple of these things needed to be done, and they weren't done sequential, so we had to slow that project in order to access that funding and position the airport for additional funding. You know, this has nothing to do with FAA funding. This is just different revenue streams that, as dollars become tighter, we need to make sure that we're ready and prepared to access those available funds. So it's been a slow grind, but I think we're on the right track.
The job-ready site, if you remember, the maximum allowed under that program, and that was part of the Clean Ohio initiative, the maximum allowed was $500 million investment, but you had to have, it was in 5 categories. You had to have at least 350 acres that was a clean site ready for a major developer to move in, and that happens to be one that we have clear ownership, so we're going to gain extra points on that, where other communities have maybe assembled 350 acres, but one of the conditions are they have a purchase agreement that would have to be bought by the proposed manufacturing. So while we may lose some points because we're not in an urbanized area, we're going to gain additional points because we own the land outright. So we feel it's a good application, and that's why we're going forward with the request for this Phase 1 environmental.
Wonderful, Ron. Thank you.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Commissioners, I will need I wouldn't call it lengthy, but I do need an executive session to discuss potential new hires at Job and Family Services, Golden Acres, and within the Community Development Department. Update you probably on our ongoing labor negotiations with the United Steelworkers of America, and